She was laughing when she walked into the restaurant, confident, beautiful, untouchable. Then she heard two words leave my mouth, my wife. And suddenly, the smile she'd carried for years disappeared. Back then she loved attention, loved knowing every room turned when she entered. I was just the quiet guy, working double shifts, saving every dollar, trying to build a future. But she said I wasn't exciting enough, said life with me felt too small. So she left chasing bigger lights and louder promises without looking back. Did she think I'd spend forever waiting? Did she think heartbreak would become my identity? Did she believe she was the last chapter of my story? I survived every lonely night, every empty apartment, every memory that refused to fade. And somewhere along the way, the pain stopped owning me, because the woman who stayed became everything the woman who left never was. I didn't even notice her at first. She was sitting 3 tables away, watching us. My wife was telling a story, laughing so hard she could barely finish it. And I remember thinking how lucky I was. Then our eyes met across the room, and time did something strange for both of us. Was she remembering the version of me she abandoned? The man still trying to prove himself. Did she finally see what patience had created? Did she finally understand what loyalty is worth? I survived every lonely night, every empty apartment, every memory that refused to fade. And somewhere along the way, the pain stopped owning me, because the woman who stayed became everything the woman who left never was. Then the waiter arrived and asked if we needed anything else. I smiled, looked at the woman beside me and said, "My wife loves the chocolate cake here." It was such a small sentence, but across the room, it hit her like a train. Because for years, she imagined she could come back, and suddenly she realized there was no place left for her. The future she walked away from was sitting right in front of her, sharing my last name, holding my hand, living the life she once rejected. And for the first time, she wasn't jealous of another woman. She was jealous of a decision, one she could never undo, one that would follow her forever. She didn't cry because because I found someone else. She cried because she finally understood why. The letter was still sealed. 15 years later, no fingerprints, no folds, no signs she'd ever tried to read it. But the moment she opened it, her hands started shaking, because inside was the life we were supposed to have. We were 23 and reckless, making promises in a tiny apartment, talking about children, road trips, and growing old together. Then one day she met someone richer, someone faster, someone who looked like certainty. And suddenly, everything we'd built became disposable. The last thing I gave her was a letter she never opened. Did she think I'd stop loving her overnight? Did she think the future would be kinder somewhere else? Did she ever wonder what was written on those pages? Inside that envelope was a wedding plan, a house sketch drawn on notebook paper, baby names in the margins, and every dream I couldn't say out loud. She spent years searching for happiness without knowing. She left it unopened in a drawer. I heard about her life through old friends. The rich man left, the next one cheated, the one after that never stayed. Years passed, and our names became strangers, until one afternoon, while cleaning out her mother's house, she found the envelope again, still waiting, exactly where she'd forgotten it. What happens when regret survives longer than love? What happens when the answer arrives after the question no longer matters? Can a person mourn a future they personally destroyed? Inside that note was a wedding plan, a house sketch drawn on notebook paper, baby names in the margins, and every dream I couldn't say out loud. She spent years searching for happiness without knowing. She left it unopened in a drawer. Near the bottom of the final page, she found a sentence written the night before she left. If you ever read this years from now, I hope life gives you everything you're looking for, but I hope you never forget who was willing to give you everything. that's when she broke, because life had given her everything except peace. The house was built, just not with her. The wedding happened, just not with her. The children grew up calling someone else their mother, and every dream inside that letter eventually came true. She wasn't grieving what she lost, she was grieving what she could have had if she'd stayed one more day. The cruelest part of the letter was realizing it had been right all along. She froze in the middle of the street, like she'd seen a ghost. People kept walking around her, but she couldn't move, because a little boy holding my hand had her eyes. And for the first time in 7 years, she realized exactly what she had lost. Back then she said motherhood wasn't for her. Said she wanted freedom, adventure, a life without responsibilities. I begged her to stay, not for me, for the child who hadn't even taken his first breath. But one rainy night, she chose a suitcase over a family and disappeared. Did she ever wonder who taught him to ride a bike, who stayed awake during the fevers, who held him when he cried for a mother he couldn't remember? Did she think those moments would wait for her? I learned how to be both parents, with trembling hands and sleepless nights. Every sacrifice became a memory, every memory became a bond. And while she chased a different life, our son grew up, holding the only hand that never let go. That afternoon we were leaving the bookstore, talking about baseball and what he wanted to be someday. Then I noticed her across the street, older, quieter, almost unrecognizable. But the moment our son's eyes met hers, something shattered inside her, because she was looking at the life she abandoned, standing right in front of her. How many birthdays had she missed? How many Christmas mornings? How many bedtime stories disappeared forever? Can regret count years that can never come back? I learned how to be both parents, with trembling hands and sleepless nights. Every sacrifice became a memory, every memory became a bond. And while While she chased a different life, our son grew up, holding the only hand that never let go. Then she whispered his name, the name she hadn't spoken in years. He looked at me, confused, and quietly asked, "Dad, who is she?" The tears hit her before the answer did, because she suddenly understood. A stranger can give birth, but only love becomes apparent. I carried the weight she left behind, and somehow turned it into something beautiful. The little boy she walked away from became the greatest part of my life. Now she watches from a distance, wishing she could rewind time. But some doors close forever the moment you choose to leave. The saddest part wasn't that he forgot her. It was that he never had the chance to remember. Last Friday, a woman stood outside my office door. She didn't knock, she just stared at the gold letters on the glass. People walking by thought she was lost, but she wasn't. She was reading the name she once laughed at and trying not to cry. 10 years ago, she said I was chasing fantasies, said real men took safe jobs and stopped dreaming. Every night I come home with tired eyes and plans nobody believed in. She'd shake her head and smile like a mother watching a child play pretend. Then one morning she packed her things and left before sunrise. All she left behind was silence. Did she think I'd disappear? Did she think those lonely nights would finally break me? Did she ever wonder what happened after she walked away? She said would never exist. I signed every deal she said I'd never reach. The same hand she let go of built everything she wanted. Now my name shines from the glass, while hers only echoes in old memories. I didn't recognize her at first. The years had written stories on her face. The confidence she carried back then was nowhere to be found. She asked the receptionist if I was inside. Then she saw a photo on the wall, me smiling beside a woman who stayed through every storm. And something inside her collapsed. Was she remembering our old apartment, the broken couch, the promises she never stayed long enough to see? Did she finally understand what patience could have become? I built every floor she said would never exist. I signed every deal she said I'd never reach. The same hand she let go of built everything she wanted. Now my name shines from the glass, while hers only echoes in old memories. When she finally walked into my office, she wasn't looking at the awards. She wasn't looking at the city view. She was staring at the wedding photo on my desk. Then she whispered, I always thought there'd be more time. And for the first time, I saw regret stronger than heartbreak. I became the man she once dreamed about, the man she searched for in every stranger after me. But dreams don't wait forever, and neither does love. She left when I had nothing. Someone else stayed when I had less than nothing. Now every success she sees belongs to a life she can never enter, and that's the part that hurts her most. She finally found the future she wanted. It just wasn't hers anymore. She didn't call me for 8 years. Then suddenly my phone lit up at 2 a.m. No name, just a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. There was silence on the other end. Then a familiar voice whispered, do you still hate me? The truth is, I never hated her. Not even the day she left. Not even when she packed her things. Not even when she told me she needed someone more successful. I was 24. Working double shifts, living on cheap coffee and borrowed hope. She said she couldn't wait forever, and maybe she was right, because forever looked very far back then. I watched her leave, and spent the next 2 years blaming myself. Was I really not enough? Was she ever gonna come back? Or was I just another chapter she had already forgotten? She left when I was nobody, when my name meant nothing, when my pockets were empty, and my future was just a dream. She left when the road was dark, when every step felt impossible. Now she's calling from the past, but I'm not the man she left behind. After that night, everything changed, not all at once, not like the movies. Slowly, painfully, one lonely year at a time. The failures taught me patience, the heartbreak taught me discipline, the silence taught me who I was. Then one day, the life I imagined finally arrived. Not perfect, but mine. And somewhere along the way, I stopped waiting for her. Then came that phone call. After 8 years, after all that time, and somehow her voice still sounded like a memory. Why now? Why after all these years? Why did the woman who disappeared suddenly wanna be found? She left when I was nobody, when my name meant nothing, when my pockets were empty, and my future was just a dream. She left when the road was dark, when every step felt impossible. Now she's calling from the past, but I'm not the man she left behind. Then she told me the truth. The life she chose fell apart. The promises she believed in were lies. The man she left me for left her too. And after all those years, she kept comparing everyone to me. Then came the question I knew was coming, the question hiding behind every word. Do you think we could try again? She left when I was nobody. Now she wants the man I became. Now she wants another chance, another beginning, another ending. But love doesn't always survive distance, and some doors only open once. I forgave her years ago, but forgiveness isn't the same as going back. She misses the man who loved her endlessly, the man who would have done anything for her. The problem is, he's gone. There was a long silence, and she softly said, I was hoping you'd say yes. I looked out at the city lights, closed my eyes, and whispered, you should have stayed.